Have you ever wondered why, when a new phone drops and the price is high, the company can't just, snap its fingers and make a million more? But if a song blows up on social media, it can be downloaded millions of times, like instantly. Well, that difference is exactly what we're digging into today. We're talking about why some businesses can react to price changes at lightning speed, while others are stuck in the slow lane. All right, before we jump right in, let's quickly map out where we're headed in this explainer. We're going to start with the big idea. What exactly is price elasticity of supply? Then we'll get into how you actually calculate it, and more importantly, what those numbers really mean. And then we'll get to the fun part, the real-world reasons, the why behind the math, that explains why some industries are super responsive and others, well, not so much. So yeah, this is the core puzzle we're trying to solve. It all boils down to responsiveness. How quickly can a producer hit the accelerator when the market flashes a green light? The answer is hiding in a really powerful little concept called price elasticity of supply. Okay, so let's introduce our main tool for the job. It's called price elasticity of supply, or just PS for short, and it's the key to unlocking that whole farmer versus game developer question. So what is it? Honestly, it's just a number. That's it. It's a score that tells us exactly how much the supply of something is going to change when the price changes. Is it a huge reaction or barely a blip? PES gives us a precise answer. And the cool thing is, this isn't just some vague idea. We don't have to guess. We can actually measure this responsiveness with a really straightforward formula. And here it is. It looks simple, and it really is. All we're doing is comparing two things. We take the percentage change in how much stuff is being supplied and divide it by the percentage change in the price. That little ratio tells us pretty much everything we need to know. Let's make this concrete with an example. Let's talk about chocolate bars. So, imagine the price of a chocolate bar doubles, going from 50 cents to $1. That's a 100% increase in price, right? And in response, the factory goes into overdrive and doubles its output, from 5,000 bars a week to 10,000. That's a 100% increase in quantity. So, what's our PS value? Well, we take that 100% change in quantity and we divide it by the 100% change in price, and that gives us exactly 1. When the PS is 1, economists call that unitary elastic. It just means that the supply changes by the exact same percentage as the price. It's a perfect one-to-one reaction. Now, that number, 1, is really just a single point on a whole spectrum. In the real world, a product supply can be anything from totally frozen in place to almost infinitely responsive. So let's break this spectrum down into two big camps. If the PES number is less than 1, we say the supply is inelastic. A perfect example is housing in a packed city like Rio. Prices can shoot through the roof, but you can't just build new apartment buildings overnight. Supply is very unresponsive. But if the PES is greater than 1, supply is elastic. Think about something like cotton t-shirts. If prices tick up, factories can easily order more fabric, hire more workers, and crank out more shirts. The supply is super responsive. Now let's check out the extremes. First, perfectly inelastic supply. The classic example here is tickets to a hit show in a small theater. Let's say there are only 1,000 seats. It doesn't matter if the price is $100 or $500, there will only ever be 1,000 tickets. The quantity is fixed. The supply can't respond at all, so its PES is 0. And then we have the polar opposite, perfectly elastic supply. Welcome to the digital age. Think about software, music albums, or ebooks. For a set price, say $9.99, a company can sell 1 copy or 10 million copies. The cost of making one more is basically 0, so the supply is, for all intents and purposes, infinite. So all of this leads to the most important question of all. Why? Why are theater tickets totally inelastic, while digital music is infinitely elastic? What are the real-world forces that are actually pulling these levers? Let's get into it. Well, it pretty much boils down to a few key things. We're going to look at the huge role that time plays, how easy it is for a company to get the materials and labor it needs, whether or not it can keep a stockpile of goods, and if it has any room to ramp up production. Okay, first up, and this is probably the biggest factor of all, time. Time changes absolutely everything. Let's go back to our corn farmer. If the price of corn spikes today, and what we call the market period, there's nothing he can do. The crop is in the ground, supply is totally inelastic. But give him a few months, the short run, and he can maybe use more fertilizer to squeeze out a bit more corn. Now, give him a whole year, the long run, and he can buy more land, get better equipment, and really ramp up production. His supply becomes way more elastic over time. Next is the mobility of your resources. For some things, like mining diamonds or building highly specialized jets, the things you need to make them, the land, the skilled labor, the complex machinery, are really hard to change or get more of. That makes the supply highly inelastic. But for simple things like t-shirts or a service like haircuts, it's pretty easy to find more workers and buy more cotton or scissors. That makes supply much more elastic. All right, what about having a stockpile? If a company can keep its goods in a warehouse, it has a secret weapon. Think about a company that makes something non-perishable, like canned goods. If the price of canned corn goes up, they don't have to wait to grow more corn. They just open the warehouse stores and ship what they already have. That ability to tap into inventory makes their supply incredibly elastic almost instantly. Okay, we have covered a ton of ground. We went from a simple formula all the way to the real-world factors that dictate how our global economy responds to price signals. So let's bring it all home and lock in the key takeaways. So here's the bottom line. Price elasticity of supply, PES, is just a scorecard for how responsive a producer is. If the number is below 1, supply is inelastic. Think farmers or concert venues. If it's above 1, supply is elastic. Think t-shirt factories and software companies. And what determines that score? It all comes down to real-world stuff. How much time you have, how mobile your resources are, and whether you've got a warehouse full of product ready to go. So next time you're out and you see a price for something suddenly change, you'll have this new lens to look through. You won't just see the price tag, you'll see the story behind it, and you can ask yourself, how fast can the people who make this really respond? Is this a corn farmer situation or a digital download situation? Thanks so much for joining me.